Okay, hi everyone. I am started this about 5 minutes early so that everybody can get on and find our place. I want to double check that I'm broadcasting everywhere that I need to. Hi, I'm Amanda Walker, and I'm a learning and development coach and parent educator, and the founder of Whole Brain Sensory Path, Whole Brain Connections, and Family Thrive Academy. So I work with families who have uniquely wired kids to help them really thrive, to increase confidence, connection, and peace and harmony in their home. And today we are going to be talking about 2 of the 9 powers that I like to teach my families. And so we're going to be talking about them, showing you these cards, and being able to practice with those. Okay, so I'm just going to pull myself up, make sure that I'm live everywhere. That's cool. Okay. Hi everyone, welcome. Just give me a couple minutes to get all my stuff together. And I'll give you guys 30 seconds. Got a little countdown thing here. Can you check on, let me go to comments for a sec. Okay, so as you hop on, please say hi to me. Let me know if you're watching hashtag live or hashtag replay, and tell me why you showed up. What is it that you wanted to get from today's live? What is it that would be of service to you? Awesome. Okay, so I want to double check that I'm live everywhere. Okay. Awesome. This is perfect. Awesome. Okay. Hey everyone, how'd you like my new intro? Let me know that you guys can hear me. If you would, just put it in the comments below. As you hop on, give me some thumbs up, some hearts. Let me know that you're excited to be here. Who is excited to learn more about identifying their feelings and their needs? And say hi to me in the comment box. I want to see you guys. Okay, perfect. Awesome. Okay, so I'm really tickled. Coming through good. Good morning. Hey, Joanne. Hi, Jen. Great. I'm glad that you guys can hear me and that everything is running good because I've got my phone, I got my computer. I'm going to be doing a couple fancy things here, little fancy steps. Good. You might need to give me permission so that I can see your name. So right above this live, there should be a little link that says give StreamYard permission. So if you'll click on that, I can know who everybody is. Because I really want to interact with you. Why? Because I want to know what's landing. I want to know what you're thinking. I want to know where your head is at so I can better serve you, right? So you can be sitting there and listening, but the more that you engage, the more that you consider and kind of answer my questions, the more that you're going to get out of this live today. So I want you to get the most that you can. And I'm excited to share a little bit more about these feelings and needs cards. Now, let's quickly, first off, let's talk about what is coming up. Next Tuesday at 6:30, we have our self-regulation workshop. So that's $37. Jen's going to put the link in here. It's also on the link, I believe, here in the actual post. So if you would like to come to that workshop, it's going to be an hour-long workshop next Tuesday at 6:30 Mountain, 7:30 Central Time. And I'm going to help you create an in-the-moment plan and an out-of-the-moment plan for your child to help them with their self-regulation, because so that it just works wonders on them. Okay, I'm going to teach you the step-by-step process to create that plan. We've got some prompts for you so you can actually address the situation in a way that feels safe and connecting with your child. And Jen has also put together this cool list of activities that outside of the moment that you can practice with your child and do with your child to create more connection and better self-regulation overall. And we're also going to be going over a little bit of an assessment so you can assess some of the lagging skills that your child might have. So if we better understand what's going on with our child, we're going to be able to create a plan that is going to truly help your child be able to regulate their emotions, to express what they need, and to just have a more peaceful, harmonious home. Okay, and I will be teaching you some tricks as the parent as well to make sure that these self-regulation plans always work, because they have the potential to always work for your child. Okay, hi everybody, welcome. Yeah, Jen's, we're going to be doing this tag team. So it's not just going to be me talking at this workshop. So make sure you get signed up. You're going to want to be in this class. It's going to be powerful. And it's an incredible way to start out the new year, right? The number one thing I hear from my families are, we need help with self-regulation. I need help with my child to learn how to calm and be connected, right? To be able to walk through and problem solve a situation without just totally losing it. And that goes for you as the parent as well as the child. All right, super. Hi, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. All right, so let me go over quickly our announcements today. Well, Jen puts a couple of the wins. So whenever you have something great that happens, please share it in the group. We love to celebrate with you. And we also want to feel the encouragement that things are really working well in your family, right? Because if we're having a bad day, but we know that you're doing well, then we can celebrate with you, and vice versa, right? Okay, so here's a couple wins that we had. Lisa Cash said, found this on my 5-year-old's hand yesterday, and it was a picture she posted, and there was a really, there was a push pause button on her child's hand, right? We talk about this pushing pause all the time, right? Push pause. So she found this push pause button on her child's hand the other day. She drew it herself, and when I asked her why she did it, she said it was to remind her to stay calm when she gets upset. Okay, so that's one of the practices to work on with your child outside of the moment to help them better regulate, right? To help them when they're feeling impatient or upset or overwhelmed, to go, I have a choice in between this stimulants and how I respond in a situation, right? So that's awesome. And this really is helpful for so many kids because it's physical. They can kind of pretend to push that button, right? It's so good and helpful for you as a parent as well. All right, Joni Duke wrote a win here. It says, in an ongoing effort to learn more about sensory processing, I have learned to be more patient and calm when my son is struggling, rather than competing with him. Observing and meeting him where he is, my son is learning how to listen to his body and body awareness. Okay, so those are so powerful. Those principles that your child and you are learning together is what creates long-term happiness and self-regulation for our kids. Okay, so congratulations for making those connections, to meeting your child right where they're at, right? That's really, really, really important, because when we give off the impression that there's something wrong with our child and we want to just fix them or fix the situation, rather than really letting them show up the way that they are feeling that day or in that moment, then what we get is a lot of resistance from our kids, because nobody wants to be fixed. Nobody wants to be fixed. We want to be understood. We want to feel connected. We want to feel heard, and we want to belong. Like, those things are so important for our kids. So Joni, those steps that you're taking will have such a long-term positive effect on your child. And really, this goes for everyone who is practicing these principles. So congratulations on that. All right. So for today, hopefully I didn't miss anything yet. I know there's some other things on here, a lot on this list here. Okay. All right. So today I want to introduce you to the 9 powers and these feelings and needs cards. So everything that I'm going to share with you today is from a book that I absolutely love called The No Fault Classroom. The No Fault Classroom is based on nonviolent communication. So Dr. Rosenberg created this way of communicating about 30 years ago. Actually, I mean, people who have successful communication and relationships know how this works. He just named it, kind of categorized it, and created some processes for people and families and couples could use to really problem solve and work through day-to-day activities and situations, right? So I'm planning on teaching all of these principles this year. I'm really excited about it. So whether you're applying these principles in your home or you're applying them in your classroom, you can create an environment where everybody's needs are met and everyone is happier, more content, and they are more self-aware and are able to self-regulate in a way that I have not found that is as well structured as this program. So this is where this is where these cards actually came from. Okay, so if you've been to any of my workshops, you have probably already have your deck of feelings and needs cards. And we're going to go into them a little bit deeper today, but I want to introduce you to the 9 powers because the feelings and the needs cards connect into these powers. And so let me tell you why it's important to understand these powers. And I'm going to do my best to share my screen here. Okay, so I'm going to add this to my screen. So there's, no, that doesn't work. Okay. That probably doesn't work. Okay. Got it. All right. Let's see if I can actually share my screen on here. Oh, I think I can. Well, this is awesome. Perfect. Okay, so here is a list of all the 9 powers. Okay, this is something that's really, really important to understand, and this is something that you can teach to your children. Okay, this helps them to understand the powers that they have within themselves to live happy lives, to reach the potential to self-regulate. And so I wanted to go over these 9 powers, and ones that are in the blue dots, those are the ones that we are going to talk about today. Okay. As you can see along this top here, we're going to read through these, okay? So the first one is the power to get to calm and connected. We talk about this a lot, right? Pushing pause, how to get to be calm and connected and to regulate ourselves. So this is the power that each one of us humans have to recognize how we are feeling on the inside and to do either energy activities, things that wake us up and get us more alert, or activities that calm us down if we're more in kind of this red zone where we're frustrated and angry, right? Over the last 6 weeks, I've taught you a number of activities that can help you actually calm your nervous system, right? We talked about the handshaking, we talked about cross crawls, right? These are activities that can help you get to your physical place of calm and connected and alert and ready to learn. Okay, so that's our first power. That we have an incredible ability. The second one is the power to know what you need. Now, for so many of us, especially if you're a mom, for so many of, not everybody feels this way, but I had a really hard time recognizing what I needed because I'd spent so many years as a mother, as a homeschooling mom, basically meeting everyone else's needs, or the needs I thought they had, right? Even when we weren't really clear about it, I was cooking and cleaning, right? I was doing all those mom things. I was trying to address challenges and work through problems. And I remember when I first learned this principle about feelings and needs, I was actually quite distraught that I didn't know what I needed. I just didn't know what I needed. And so when I learned about nonviolent communication, it really changed my life. It changed the way that I interacted with my children, with my husband, with myself. And that's why I want to share this with you, because it has been so transformational for me. And it can be transformational for you. Very simple principles, very powerful principles, but as you practice them, your children will be able to regulate themselves better. You will have more peace. You will actually be able to nurture yourself as you learn to use these cards and to really understand what you need. So the second power is to know what you need. The third one is the power to find ways to meet your needs. So once we recognize that we have an actual need, it takes effort and understanding to be able to meet those needs. Okay, to recognize this is a need I have. How can we meet that need? And really, within the family and within relationships, what we're wanting to do is have everybody's needs met, right? So instead of saying, okay, let's just not meet anybody's needs because it's, too busy, or I don't know how to do it. But with this process, you can learn how everybody's needs can be met. Okay, so let's scroll down here. We're going to get to the second level. The power to read feelings. Oh, I didn't spell that right. You see that D? Anyways, the power to read feelings. Okay, so that's another power we're going to talk about today with these cards. Our ability to read our feelings and the ability to read other people's feelings and how to communicate those to other people, right? We do this all the time with our kids or those that we work with, right? I'm wondering if you're angry because of X, Y, or Z, right? Am I right? So you're asking these questions, you're recognizing that a child might be overwhelmed or frustrated with doing school, or maybe they had a little spat with their brother or sister, right? You can say things like, hey, I notice that you seem really sad. Is that how you're feeling, right? So we have an ability to read feelings, not only our own, but also other people's. The fifth power we have is the power to observe. And I have done a live on this before, the ability to observe a situation instead of judge a situation. And they're very different. When we're able to observe a situation, especially with our kids and our uniquely wired kids, when the way that we frame our sentences, the way that we communicate will either create safety and security or defensiveness and, insecurity in the situation. So the power to observe is incredibly amazing. The power to listen. We have the ability to listen, and there's specific ways to listen, right? And the more that we can really hear our kids, the more that we can really listen to them, the more that we are going to have a deeper connection, and we'll be able to work as a team, and they will feel like they've been heard. It's so important for us as human beings to be heard. And that goes for our kids. Our kids really want to be heard. Okay. And the last three powers are the power to navigate the fault zone. Now, in this book, she talks about how our whole lives, we have the choice to blame or lay fault at people, or we can recognize that everybody's actions are to meet a need. So technically, nobody is at fault. Everybody is just trying to meet their needs to the best of their abilities. And sometimes our kids do it really poorly. Sometimes we do it really poorly, right? So we have the power to navigate the fault zone. We live in a world that likes to point blame at others, right? We're at a time that's highly, highly divisive. We're at a time where people are rejecting each other as friends, longtime friends, because of political things or because of different perspectives or because of different religions. We are at a very volatile time. And the only way that we can navigate this where everybody feels heard is to create a no-fault zone, okay? Everybody is trying to meet specific needs. And when we can recognize what those needs are, everybody can learn how to meet them, okay? The eighth power is the power to cooperate, to problem solve, or to solve problems and conflicts. So as you really hone in on these skills that we talked about, hone in on these powers that we have, we're going to be able to cooperate better, problem solve in our families, and reduce conflicts. Who doesn't want more of that? Who wants less conflict in their families? Let me know in the comments. Give me some thumbs up. Say yes. If you want less conflicts in your family, let me see it in the comment section. Hi, Heidi. Here but late. Yes. Do you guys want less conflict? Who wants less conflict? Let me know in the comments there. Okay. And the next one is the power to create a no-fault zone wherever you are. Another typo there, but hey, right? Nobody's perfect. So how to create a no-fault zone wherever you are. The way that you're able to do that, and we'll talk more about this fault zone idea in the new year, but there you have the power to create a no-fault zone, and that's something that's really been an important part of my coaching with those in my group, is not pointing blame at one another, not shaming one another, not demanding from them, but really recognizing, okay, everybody's got needs here. What's really going on below the surface? How can we help meet those needs or teach those skills or reduce those stressors, right? Yeah. All right. Joanne wants less conflicts. Heidi wants less conflicts. Val says absolutely less conflicts. Love it. Okay, perfect. All right, so today we're going to talk about the power to know what you need. All right, perfect. I think I figured this out. I'm so happy. Okay, so I have them up here and I'm just highlighting the two that we're going to talk about, okay? What I want you to know is there's a few principles about this. Every single action that we take in life is to meet a need, okay? And that goes for any actions, whether it's a positive action or a negative action. We are always trying to meet needs. And when we can understand that, we can have more compassion and grace for ourselves, as well as our children and the other people in our lives, okay? So it makes me think of, interactions with those that I love, right? This morning, my daughter came in and she said, hey, Mom, I want the phone. I didn't have it all day yesterday. And, I just want my phone. And so I was saying, okay, so she has a need to connect with her friends, but I have a need to not have my kids on the phone for 14 hours. And I was feeling anxious. So I was getting really clear about that. So one of those things, when I recognize that, I'm going, okay, I'm feeling really anxious and nervous that if I hand these phones over, everyone will be on them for 12, 14 hours, right? And they will just spend their time looking at their phones, right? And so I was honestly needing to know that my kids were going to do something other than just being on their phones today, right? So you have this feeling. I noticed that I was feeling anxious and worried because I had a need to have some clarity with my kids, to know that they are going to be responsible for the day. So it was really important for me to share that with them. And that's where these cards really come into play, right? And this is one of the tools that are really powerful. And I'm hoping that you guys are using these when you need them, when the time arises and you need them. Let me see here. Joanne says she just cut out her feelings and needs cards. Awesome. Perfect. Okay. So we have these cool cards, right? So today, this is where I was feeling, you know, I was feeling, can you see that? Is that just too bright? It is kind of bright, huh? Can you see this at all? There we go. So I was feeling unsettled, concerned, and tense. And I was also feeling scared and worried. Those were my specific feelings. And that's why I just took the phones this morning before everyone woke up and I put them away so that I knew we had to have a conversation before everybody just kind of got on their devices, right? And so when I recognize that feeling, I'm going, okay, so what's really the underlying need for me, right? Like, what is it that is creating these feelings, right? Now, we've talked about the brain. We've talked about how thoughts create feelings, okay? So there are thoughts going on. So my thought this morning was, if these kids have their phones, they'll be on it for 14 hours, right? And when I think that, how do I feel? Yes. I feel scared, worried, and afraid. And I feel tense, concerned, and unsettled. Okay. Now, here's the thing. There underneath is a need. And so when I could recognize what that need is, I could better communicate that with my family. Right. And so, as I'm looking through all of these cards, and I came up with a few of these, and let me share these with you. These are the ones that really resonated with me today, okay? And how these resonated was because there was a few things I was thinking about. I have a busy day today, so I wanted a little bit of help and support in the house, right? And I thought if they were on their phones and we didn't have a plan, then we probably weren't going to get the things done that I was thinking about, okay? I also wanted to be considered. I wanted to be able to express what I was thinking and my concerns with my own kids, okay? So that was really important to me. And the other part was I wanted to be able to trust that my kids wouldn't just spend all day sitting on their phones, right? Okay. And so when I recognized this, I thought, okay, so how are we going to go about this? And I don't know that I did it that great, but I was definitely more I understood better what I was feeling, what was going on. And we can do this same thing with our own kids. Okay. Awesome. All right. So let me go over these feelings. So we have the power to read feelings, to read our own feelings as well as read other people's feelings so that we can better cooperate, better communicate, right? And then once we can recognize that there's a feeling, oftentimes that is the flag that says, okay, there's a need that's either being met or not met, right? So something's going on, and let's say I'm feeling happy and I'm feeling grateful, that type of a thing. What I can do is go through my needs cards as well and recognize, okay, what need was met that I was feeling this way, right? Yesterday I was had a really great time with my kids. We went up to Snow Canyon. We walked through a desert kind of garden area and we were just together and it was beautiful outside, and I recognized I just felt happy. I felt grateful. And so I was thinking, well, why do I feel that way, right? Like, what need is being met that I was having those positive emotions? And the two things that stood out for me were this card here that's called Community, Friends, and Belonging, right? So I had time to be with my family and the cousins and to hang out with them, and the need to play and have fun and be out in nature. That's one of my favorite things. That was being met. And so I was feeling grateful. I was feeling content, right? So with our children and with ourselves, there's a positive side to using these cards. There are positive feelings, right? And then that means that we are meeting needs that create those positive feelings. And so these cards aren't just when you're in a pickle or when you're in a situation that you really need to help navigate. It's also a time to be present and to recognize the good things that are happening, right? So in our group, we talk a lot of times about being grateful about things, right? I'm grateful about the good things that we see our kids doing, right? Grateful about our life, looking for the positive side of things, right? And when we do that, we can also explore through these needs cards what they might be. Okay, so many of our kids don't know what to do with their emotions. And emotions is part of being human. When we have feelings, we have the ups and downs of every day. There's no getting away from it. It's not something that just, you can't go to a place where, well, you could spend time in a place where you're numb, but then you're not present in the world, right? And you're kind of cut off from the world. You can also spend a ton of time being angry and overwhelmed and frustrated again, but you're not present in that moment to really experience life to its fullest, to really help our kids navigate through all of these emotions, navigate through their frustrations and their overwhelms, navigate through their lack of flexibility or their ability to tolerate situations, right? When they're lacking these skills, they have all of these emotions that come rushing at them. What do you do with them? One of the things you can do is get these cards out. And in the moment, you can use these if your child has already been introduced to them. So these are really important tip is to introduce these cards, number one, to yourself. Talk about that all the time. Make sure that you are using these cards yourself so that it feels natural and normal to share them with your child, okay? Nobody wants to be fixed. Nobody wants to be the problem kid, right? So if we come about it as, I've got something so that, you're never upset or, we're going to fix this all and stuff like that, that might not be the way that your child would really take to a new activity. So you have to think about what's going to reach your child. What's the best way to introduce something like this, right? This could be introduced in a family meeting. It could be introduced when you're talking about how you've used these cards yourself and your own experience of them. That's extremely powerful for our kids, that when we share our own stories and our own breakthroughs, that makes a huge difference for them, right? So you don't have this expectation that they're going to use the cards yet, but you're using them. They're helpful tools for you to be able to navigate your own feelings. And one of the ways that's so great is that I will share with my kids pretty openly about how I'm feeling. So I show them, I model to them how to use these cards, right? And so it creates an environment in which they want to do that as well. Okay. Do we have any comments here? Do you guys have any comments about the feelings and needs card? Do you have any comments or questions about how to apply it in your family? Do you have a child that needs to, or you could see would have some value in understanding their feelings better and where the needs are, right? Like making that identification. Do you guys have any, do you see the value in that? Is that something that your child would be helpful? That would be helpful for your child? Yeah. Okay. So oftentimes throughout the day, there are situations where we don't know exactly what to do, right? When you're raising a uniquely wired kids, things are definitely, they can be more challenging because many times our kids need more support, right? And sometimes we feel like all we do all day long is support our kids, right? And we need a little bit of time and we need a little bit of care for ourselves. And so these cards are also really powerful for our, our own self-empathy. And as we can practice that, we're able to model that to our own kids as well. And okay, let's see. Joanne says, I'm hoping my 10-year-old son will get on board with these as he never expresses his feelings. And then Jen says, lots of times we see behaviors because our children aren't able to tell us how they are feeling and what they need. Giving them language can go a long way, yeah, to decrease some of those negative behaviors. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, yes. So this is one way to be able to create that language with your child. Right now on these cards here, we have a number of words, and I know I've shared these before, but they're so incredibly helpful. But they have a number of words on each card, and then the pictures kind of give an example of like the facial expression. So many of you have probably seen those, poster boards that have all the different feelings on that, right? So they're kind of like you would see them in a preschool or a pre-K class where they would talk about feelings and stuff like that. For many of us, we need to still talk about those things because our feelings point to our needs. Our feelings also point to our thoughts. And once we can recognize what we need and we can recognize what we're thinking, we can make shifts in our thinking as well as meeting our needs. Okay, we all have these powers. They're incredible powers. And as we're able to act on them and work through them, we are able to come more to the present moment. We're able to be of service to one another. We're able to cooperate and problem solve. All of these things are incredible situation in our families when we have these added tools. Okay, so let's see if there's any other questions here. No. Okay, so let me explain one thing that's really been helpful with these cards, and it's just an added element to it. So let's talk about a time, let's say you have a child that's feeling really upset, and now you're outside of the moment, and you're trying to help figure out what's really going on, right? And let's say they're feeling open to looking at these cards and kind of curious to say, okay, this is how I was feeling because this is what happened, right? And one of the ways for us to help our children feel heard and understood and to listen is to acknowledge the cards that they pull out. So let's just say the situation was, you're out at the park and two brothers are together and they're up on the jungle gym, and one of the little guys like just started, hitting his brother. And you're like, what is going on, right? And so later on, you sit down with your child and talk to them about, say, hey, I noticed that you were hitting your brother. And, in our family, we don't hit one another. Like, that's not part of what we do in our family. So I want to better understand where that behavior was coming from. Like, what is it that you were feeling? What was going on? And so he just ends up saying, well, he was trying to push me down the slide. He wanted me to go really fast, and I didn't want to go really fast, right? It sounded fun to him, but it wasn't fun to me, right? So you're getting a little bit more of the story, right? And in that moment, you could choose to just be like, hey, hollering at the brother, hey, don't be pushing your brother down. He doesn't need to go fast, right? Like, those are great ways to solve the problem in that moment. But I would also encourage you to go a little bit deeper with your child if it feels appropriate, right? So one of the ways you can do that is your ability to read your child's feelings, right? So it could be, hey, when he was trying to push you down the slide, were you feeling scared and worried that you'd get hurt, right? So I'd pull out this card, right? Were you feeling scared or worried that he was going to push you down the slide? Yeah, I was totally scared and worried. Like, I didn't want to get hurt, right? And so we talk about, okay, that totally makes sense, right? So if we looked through these needs cards, and you could look through these and say, okay, well, the child definitely wanted safety and trust, right? Like they wanted to feel safe when they're going down the slide. And his brother was not listening to him, right? So another one was, you probably wanted to be heard, right? To be understood that, hey, I don't want you to push me down the slide. I know you think it's fun, but I don't think it's fun, right? So getting to that clarity of communication, getting to that place where you can better understand what you are thinking and feeling helps our children to mature emotionally, to be able to self-regulate better, and for us to have a deeper conversation. So you could talk to your son who was trying to push his little brother down and say, hey, listen, your brother was feeling really scared. He was worried he was going to get hurt, right? Or if your child is old enough and feels like they could share that, then the other son could just share that and say, hey, I was feeling worried and scared that you were going to push me down the slide. And so I just started hitting you because I wanted you to stop and you wouldn't listen to me, right? Because I had a need to be understood. I had a need to be heard. And I also had a need to feel safe and to trust you. Oh, there we go. To feel safe and to trust that you weren't just going to push me down the slide, right? So I'm sure that this is something that you've done with your children. These cards are just helpful to find those words and to explore situations so that you're able to problem solve, to cooperate, right? To make everybody's lives better. Okay. All right. All right, so let's go see if there's any other questions. Oh, I can see these down here. Okay, cool. Awesome. All right. Okay, so I think that's all I have for today with these cards. So if you have any other questions, let me know in the comments there. And let me know if you have used these cards before and if they were helpful, how they were helpful. I would love to know that either here or also in the group, to share that in the group. That would be pretty awesome. Okay. Okay, so if we are going to wrap this whole thing up, because I don't see any other questions, if we wrap all of this up, every human being has needs, okay? And these are needs that all human beings share, okay? We have universal needs that we all share, and that's something that we can really connect and relate to. And that all of our feelings that come up is either because a need was met or a need was not met. And so our feelings actually point us to a need. And when we can recognize what that need is, and we can ask for what we need or find a way to meet that need for ourselves or our children, we just live happier, more content life. There's more harmony in the home. There's more cooperation, right? There's more self-regulation. Our children's ability to recognize what's going on and to be able to regulate themselves is increased with these skills and with these cards. Joanne says, I'm going to start using them myself today. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. They're such a great tool. So for anybody else, if you don't have a set of these cards, let us know and we can send you the PDF so you can have your own. Again, these cards come from the No Fault Zone classroom. And there's also Spanish ones. So if you want a deck of Spanish feelings and needs cards, we can get those to you as well. Okay. So let's see if there's anything else. That's awesome. Okay, cool. It was great to be with you guys here today. Again, make sure that you get signed up for the workshop that's coming up next Tuesday, the self-regulation plans that work wonders for your kids. If you really want to get into a workshop, and we'll go step by step and help you create a plan that will help your child learn to self-regulate. And in the moment situations, what do you do in the moment? And then out of the moment, plans that help you prepare and help prepare your child to be able to better navigate when they're having a tough time, when things are in transition, when they're under stress. Okay, so there should be a link. I think Jen already posted that at the very top. Yes, there's a link right there to go ahead and get your seat in that workshop. And I'm excited to see you guys all there. Merry Christmas, right? This week, secretly, my birthday's on Christmas. So usually the week of Christmas is pretty crazy. And for all of you who are in the coaching program, because I see like 3 of you here. Hi, Heidi and Joanne and Val. It's so good to have you guys in the coaching group. We'll have our lives this week as well. But I just wanted to express to you to have a Merry Christmas and enjoy this time with your families. If it's like most of us, the holidays can be pretty stressful. This would be a great time for you to use these cards, to recognize what you're feeling, to recognize what's going on so that you can better meet your needs, okay? And one of the most powerful ways to meet our needs, the most powerful ways to really connect and know our next right step is to push pause, right? When we push pause and we breathe, okay, and we can use these cards to connect, right? We can connect to our own feelings. We can use these cards to connect with our own needs, right? Then we can listen for that next right step. And when we are working in an environment where we feel like all day long we're giving and giving and giving, and our kids don't necessarily want to be team players some days, right? And we wonder, how are we going to get through this day? Like, I feel so overwhelmed and tired and frustrated. Remember to push pause. It's backwards on here. So remember to push pause, right? Remember to take a moment to breathe, to connect, and to help yourself take that next right step for you and for your family. Okay. You're welcome, Joanne. Thank you, guys. All right. Have a Merry Christmas, and I will see you guys next week. Bye-bye.